Good morning, everybody. My name is Crystal. Welcome to my YouTube channel. It's Tuesday morning. Good morning. I feel warm. I always feel warm in this flat. The sun isn't out at the moment, but inside my flat it feels warm. I've got up. I just feel tired. I didn't get to bed till about 3 o'clock last night. I just can't sleep for some reason. So I didn't get to bed till about 3-ish. So I've got up about 7:30. So I'm feeling slightly tired. I'm not feeling angry. I'm just feeling tired. It's very hot inside this flat. It's hard to sleep in. It just feels muggy and like you're in an oven. So that's what I feel like all the time. I've had to splash my face with water to wake myself up. I don't know why it's so hot inside the flat. It just feels really, really intense heat. So, guys, last night I couldn't get to sleep because I felt hot. So I was awake. I was messing around on my phone. They were making a noise next door, basically. So I was sat quiet. I wasn't making any noise. I was just sat down without any radio or anything like that on. I was just sat down on my sofa, and they were making noise next door that are right against my wall in the early hours of the morning. So they were making a load of noise, but I was awake already. But I found it difficult to get off to sleep because when I did try to get to sleep, they were still making like some kind of banging noise against the wall. And I'd done that video yesterday about gang stalking and how noise, how they use noise to obviously disrupt your sleep and to control you. So they were making noises next door when I was trying to get to sleep. Eventually, they were making noises. And the light was on in the corridor at 2 in the morning. So the light was on in the corridor, the security light was on. So someone was walking about the corridor at 3 in the morning yesterday. Because I saw the light underneath my door, because there's a slight crack underneath the door and you can see the light. And also I've got a spy hole. So someone had been out in the corridor at 2 in the morning because the light was on. And that makes it hard for you to sleep when you think there's like someone wandering about at 2 in the morning in the hallway. So last night I went out with Max, and I went out with Max late because someone helped me just to get some food for yesterday. And I could have gone to the co-op. I could have gone outside to the local co-op, but I didn't. I thought I'd have a Tesco whoosh delivery. So I ordered the delivery, and then I thought, well, that's going to take a while to come because it's Tesco's. And I thought, right, I can manage to take Max out. For a walk before the whoosh Tesco delivery comes. And all Max is doing in this weather is lying down, and just lying down, like dead out, flat. He's lying out because he's finding it difficult to sleep. So he's just laid out flat all day long. So I thought, right, we're not going to go around the field because, it's going to take me about 3/4 of an hour to get round the field. And we'd had a bad thunderstorm last night. It was quite a bad thunderstorm. There was really bright light flashes of lightning, really, really loud thunder, and a downpour of rain, which lasted about 10-15 minutes. So after the thunderstorm, I ordered the whoosh delivery, and then I took Max out and I put my raincoat on because it was raining. it was still warm, still humid. So I put my raincoat on and my trainers and went out down the bottom. Now, next door has got a dachshund. And the dachshund down the bottom barked at me about twice. They've got a dachshund down there. And they've lived here for a long time as well, because their dachshund always barks when someone walks past it. So the dachshund barked at me twice. And I walked just towards the co-op. There's a load of snails out. All the snails come out when it's raining, the slugs and the snails, and they were like sliding across the path and everywhere, the slugs and the snails. And it wasn't too bad. There was people about, but there wasn't too many. And I thought, I'm not going into that co-op at night, because there's usually young lads in there, and I had a bit of a bad experience in the co-op when there was young lads serving, so I didn't go in there at night. Also, there was a few lot of thefts going on, and someone, while I was in the co-op, many months ago now, when I was in the co-op, somebody came in and stole some shopping and threw it on the floor, and it sounded like gunshots because the plastic bags popped, and I was at the self-service checkout and it made me jump out my skin. So I don't tend to go in the co-op at night, only if it's absolutely necessary. So there was a African woman going into the co-op. There was a bald-headed man stood outside the co-op, and I just walked past and I came into my flat. Not long afterwards, the buzzer went, and there was an Asian guy with glasses with a bright red t-shirt, and I let him in the first door, I let him in the second door, and then he was downstairs in the middle bit, because people don't realise that to use the lift you need a key. So they stand by the lift, these delivery drivers stand by the lift, press the button, and of course the lift doesn't come down because you need a key to open it. So I have to go downstairs and let the guys in. So this Asian chap with the red t-shirt and glasses was waiting in the middle part of the corridor near the lift, and he had a phone in his hand and he was holding it up. He was trying to get his phone to work. He was trying to get a connection, he said. He said he was trying to get a connection, and he was holding this mobile phone up to me, right? Like, the whoosh bag was heavy. Normally they put it into two, but they're trying to save bags, I think, and save money. So this bag was really heavy. So he handed me the bag and I nearly dropped it. I put it by the lift, opened the lift, got into the lift, and he put his foot in the door. He put his foot in the doorway of the lift, and I thought, what's going on here? He'd already taken a picture of the bag. He wanted to take a picture of the bag of the shopping. So that is why he was holding the camera up at me. He wanted to take a photo of the shopping. So he said when he first took the photo of the shopping, it didn't come out because the internet wasn't working. So when I was in the lift, he stuck his foot in the doorway of the lift so he could take a photograph of the shopping. Well, I suppose because some people deny that they've had the food delivered and then try to get the delivery again. That's what I get the gist of. But it shocked me when he put his foot in the doorway. It shocked me. Got upstairs with the shopping. and everything was in there, everything was fine, and I put the refrigerated items away in the fridge, and main shopping, I'd ordered the main shopping for today. And later on in the evening, I got a notification saying, Miss Marshall, your shopping has been cancelled. And I would have got my main shopping today between 9:30 and 10:30. But unfortunately, they cancelled my shopping. So it's a good job I got this bit of shopping here. It's a good job I got this shopping, isn't it? It's a good job I got it. Otherwise, I wouldn't have had bits and pieces this morning. I wanted some Pepsi Cola because I wanted some drink. I haven't got any water. I haven't got any mineral water left or anything like that. So they cancelled my shopping. We're very sorry, we've cancelled it because my payment was declined. Because my money goes in today, but normally they let it go through, but they didn't. So I've had to reorder my shopping all over again for a different time. At the moment, right, I'm trying to pay my rent to the housing. So I've got the money in the bank account and I'm trying to pay my rent to the housing. But my bank has come back saying they want confirmation it's me, and the phone that I use to the bank is an old phone, and I've got to spend half an hour charging it so that I can pay my rent. Oh my God. Oh, fingers and thumbs this morning. So the phone is taking ages to charge up. So I'm just trying to charge it now because it's important that I pay this rent off. And I believe you me, guys, I'm trying to pay this rent and the phone will not charge. So I'm going to have to do it all again. So basically I've got to charge up my iPhone, otherwise I can't pay my rent. It's ridiculous because my bank is asking for a security number to confirm that it's me paying the rent. And my phone is not charging. So everything is coming at me. Yeah, I owe £578 rent. If it goes past £800, they'll start proceedings. This isn't going to happen next time because I've got the money to pay this rent off and I just want to pay it off. It's going to leave me short, but I want to pay it off, otherwise they will start proceedings. And I'm not lying. So I've done that. The bit of money I've got left has got to pay bills. Right, so I've got to pay bills with that money. I've obviously got to get toiletries and shopping. I've managed to top my phone up, which is important. So I've topped my phone up. I just don't want to get in this mess again. But it's ridiculous. So the first week of the month's rent is paid, but the rest is the back payment of last month, right? So it's going to start happening again. So eventually it will get paid off. It'll get paid off, right? As long as you contribute something to paying what you owe off. It's because the council paid the rent a month in arrears. So that's in the process of being sorted. My grocery shopping is going to come because I'm going to get some food, but I'm getting a couple of bits, but I cannot afford to go on holiday. Absolutely can't afford to go anywhere on holiday. And maybe we'll get one day out this month. Maybe one day out I will get this month as a break. One day. Not 2 weeks, one day. It's awful. Yeah, so I've got a bit of food. I've got to wait for my main shopping, and then I'm going to be short again. I don't want to get in this mess. I want to make sure I've got some food every week, even if it's a little bit of food that you look forward to it every week. There's not going to be loads and loads of deliveries. There might be a couple over the couple of days, but that will be it. And I'm not getting anything like expensive because I can't afford it. Not expensive. Yeah, so I got my shopping, and I was up till quite late last night, and I feel a bit dozy. Because I was trying to get things done in the middle of the night. Because your money goes in at 12 midnight. It went in at 12 midnight, so I was trying to sort bits and pieces out in the middle of the night, but I couldn't find the phone to pay the rent. So is it still charging, is it? Right. So when I get off here, we're going to pay the rent. God. Alexa, what's the date today?
Good morning, Crystal. Today is Tuesday, the 22nd of July.
So in a week's time, you've got the council tax. That's a hefty chunk out of my money as well, the council tax. I've also got to put some electricity onto the meter. I've got to do that as well, put electricity onto the meter, save some money for the gas, and you're just in a never-ending vicious circle. And I think everybody is right now, because the electricity prices are going up, but it's the food, what we eat. So I finally got to sleep, and then I've got up later than usual because I felt so tired. And when I got up, I didn't know where I was. I had to open my eyes with my hat off. Where am I? I don't want that to happen again. I love my sleep, and sleep it repairs your body during sleep, and I haven't had any. I don't feel like I've been to sleep at all. When I got up, I wanted to go back to sleep, but it was like 7:45, and I can't. Alexa, good morning.
Good morning. Were you woken by a murder of crows this morning? That's better than a smack of jellyfish or a crash of rhinos. How about a dazzle of puffins or a cauldron of bats? I wonder what a group of echoes would be called. An assistance, perhaps.
Alexa, what's the date today?
It's Tuesday, the 22nd of July.
Alexa, what's the time?
The time is 8:25 a.m.
Alexa, what's the weather outlook?
Right now in Rochester, It's 18 degrees Celsius with mostly sunny skies. Today's forecast is clouds with a chance of showers, with a high of 22 degrees and a low of 15 degrees.
Alexa, can you tell me a joke?
What is black and white and red all over? A sunburned zebra.
Okay. Alexa, which celebrity was born on this day?
Celebrities born on the 22nd of July include Bobby Sherman, Selena Gomez, Willem Dafoe, Skylar Gazando, and Prince George of Wales.
Alexa, can you put LBC radio on?
LBC London from Global Player.
So it's just all these questions that need to be answered. And another point that Kate made was everybody talks about Hamas figures. Well, what about Israeli government figures? Are we meant to believe those as well?
Samina, thank you. I can't answer those questions because you'd have to ask the soldiers involved. And you're right in a lot of what you say, Samina. Thank you. James is in Barnes. Good morning, James.
Morning, Nick. Nick, I think you got the nail on the head when you spoke about America. And I think the big problem with America is the influence that the Israeli government has throughout America, throughout the political apparatus of America, supporting Israel. And Donald Trump is in a big predicament because of that issue. And I think that it's about time that the Western countries, excluding America, Canada and European Union, all these speeches that David Lammy makes, and I know they're with the best of intentions, of course, and Keir Starmer, Netanyahu is not going to pay any bit of attention unless the West puts some pressure on America and starts actually making some concrete efforts to stop this, because the words aren't going to stop Israel doing what they're doing, unfortunately.
James, thank you. You talk about the role of the United States. Let's go to a caller from there. Jerry's in Las Vegas. Jerry, how are you viewing this conflict? Good morning.
Good morning. I'm amazed listening to some of your callers. Your previous caller just then. Let's just clarify a point. Israel is an ally to the United States. And
Trump,
the
United Kingdom.
We're talking the main protagonists were about Israel, US, and in connection to Gaza. Now, the US previous administrations, it seems like some of your callers seem to think, one end, they see United States as some kind of ally, but then in the next breath, someone will call into you and say, be condemning the US.
Mm-hmm.
You can't run with a box and a hands, Nick. You've got people the British military. I see guys over here. They train over here. I listen to them online. They have a really tight connection with the United States, but it seems like many people in the UK do not, and it amazes me to listen to. But
let me ask you: how does the US media portray the situation in Gaza? Does it get the front page of the papers? Does it get to the top of the bulletins?
Yes, it depends on your 50 states. It depends on their political leaning. If you went to Minneapolis,
but the 6 o'clock news last night on ABC or NBC or even CNN for that matter, or Fox, would they lead with this, or is it not that high up the bulletin?
Well, I can't speak for the media, can I? Really?
Well, no, I just wonder if you turn on your news tonight, would you expect to see the footage? I'm just trying to get a sense of how big a story it is in the US, Jerry, because you can help me with that.
This time here, there's a lot going on. You've got national disasters, you name it. Of course, that is what it, actually no. I mean, I don't really generally watch the mainstream media, to be quite frank, really, but too busy. I listen to you guys. The topic of conversation, which is it grabs you a lot, is the business in Syria.
Right.
And with the Druze.
Right.
That's the major one.
That's the one that's been covered. Okay, Jerry, thank you. I didn't mean to wrong foot you by asking you what's on the bulletin. It's just to get a perspective of how the US audience is seeing it. All right, we'll continue this conversation. Also coming up later, Suella Braverman explaining how she thinks we need to leave the ECHR. It's 8:30, breakfast with me, Nick Ferrari, in LBC News Time. Thomas Watts.
Israel says a statement from 28 countries calling for an end to the war in Gaza is disconnected from reality. The UK is among those condemning what they call the drip-feeding of aid and inhumane killing of children. Anyone involved in the people smuggling trade could have their assets frozen and be banned from entering Britain. The new sanctions could hit gang leaders, corrupt officials and companies selling small boats. The former Foreign Secretary, Sir James Cleverly, is expected to return to Kemi Badenoch's shadow cabinet. The Conservative leader is reshuffling her frontbench team. LBC weather, a mixture of sunny spells and scattered showers, heavier rain in eastern areas later, a high of 24 degrees.
Nick Ferrari at breakfast. Call 0345 6060 973.
8:31, and let's come straight back to that story heard on the LBC News Bulletin. People smugglers driving the Channel migrant crisis will be hit with sanctions for the first time this week. Details from Foreign Secretary David Lammy, who joins me now. Good to have you on, Foreign Secretary. How will this work in practical terms? Good morning to you.
Well, Nick, your listeners will know that we've had a sanctioned regime for generations. I remember thinking first about sanctions as a young boy when we were debating sanctions to South Africa. They can make a difference. When I came in, I went to the National Crime Agency. They showed me the dinghies and we discussed where they had come from. They showed me the engines. They explained the network of criminals that sit behind this. I realised that some of those criminals are not men in shell suits. They're men in suits. They've got bank accounts. They travel. They want to come to London. And I asked, what are we doing about it? And I realised that it was my department, the Foreign Office, that had the means through sanctions to deal with this, and that this was time for us to lead. So today we're announcing for the first time, and we're laying legislation, and then there'll be designations tomorrow, how we are going to go after these criminals. We can go after the people that build the engines. We can go after the people that make the passports. We can go after the companies that enable some of this, because unfortunately lawyers and others sometimes sit behind this. And we can encourage our partners in Europe and the G7 to act with us, just as we've done with Vladimir Putin, denying him £450 billion worth of money that he would have put into his coffers on Ukraine. I think we can make a difference here. I do not suggest it's a silver bullet. It's not, Nick. Of course, it's a whole litany of things that you've discussed many times on your show that any government would need to do if they're serious. But I think this can be part of the arsenal.
But how many of these traffickers have bank accounts in the United Kingdom, Foreign Secretary?
Well, many of them use informal networks to equip themselves with money. But when we're talking about a £10 billion industry, some do use UK bank accounts. And tomorrow you will see in those designations, you'll see public officials in other countries. You will see people who deal with fraudulent passports, and you will see enablers and others, because as you know, often these people are facilitated by accountants, by lawyers and others. You will see them turning up in the designations tomorrow and over the coming months.
How frustrated are you with the feeling that the French could be doing more their side of this issue, Foreign Secretary?
Well, I was pleased, Nick, that for the first time in 6 years, following the summit that we had with the French just over a week ago, that they are now, in terms of the way they deal with these things in maritime, prepared to stop boats in the water. I thought that was a move forward. Is that an
ongoing practice, Foreign Secretary? My understanding is that's a very, almost a one-off, the picture of the border force or gendarme ripping the boat with a knife. You think that's ongoing?
Well, as part of this pilot, the one-for-one pilot, and as a part of the changed posture, my understanding is this is a behaviour that we can now see from the French. And you're right, there has to be more of it if we're serious about deterring smugglers that use those boats to cross the channel.
But when you and your colleagues talked 12 months ago, smashing the gangs, your probably even further away from it than you were 12 months ago, aren't you? No progress has been made, Foreign Secretary.
Oh, no, Nick. Look, what have we done in the last year? I've sent 35,000 people back. That's an increase of 13%. These are people who shouldn't be here. We said we'd speed up processing. It's gone up by 116%. It's faster than it was before.
So far,
we've got a new deal. We've got a new deal with France.
Yeah.
We've got a new deal with Germany. They've got to pass some legislation over the next few months. But effectively, we've got a new deal that means that they can go after people illegally smuggling into the UK. So we are acting. We've only been in office a year. No one thinks that you fix this overnight. But are we taking the right steps? And am I, as Foreign Secretary, taking the right steps? I think we are.
But why are more people arriving? There's a 50% increase in those making the crossing, Foreign Secretary.
Well, you'll also know that the truth is that 3.6% of the global population are migrants. Food insecurity, climate change, conflict are driving that. The total number now exceeds 122 million people across the planet. Now, we've got to do a lot in the UK to protect our borders, and that is what we're doing. We certainly can't have the UK being seen as a soft touch, and that's why I'm going after the men in suits that prey on these people, that commit fraud, that commit deception. Sometimes they're not just smuggling people, they're smuggling guns and drugs as well. We're going after them with our sanctions regime that comes from the Foreign Office.
When Emmanuel Macron said there was too much of a pull factor towards the UK, was he right?
That has been a discussion in the French system now for well over a generation. The UK language, of course, is attractive.
But he also argued that we should have like an identity. It is too easy to effectively lose yourself. And I have to say, under the previous administration, people waited 18 months for their case to be heard, and so they vanished into a market where they could work. The French president would assert that if we had ID cards, as they do in France, that wouldn't happen, was one of the points he made when he was here.
Yes, and obviously we had a debate in the last government around ID cards. I remember it well. I think since then, in terms of passports and in terms of the ID that you need effectively to work, to have national insurance, it is felt that we are able to monitor and keep track of people. That is not the reason that people are choosing the UK. They're choosing the UK because we're friendly, open people. They want to come and work here. They've got family here, or indeed they want to speak the English language or do speak the English language. That's why they're choosing the UK. What we can't be is a soft touch. We have to bear down on the smugglers. We have to bear down on those who would engage in criminality. And therefore, we're doing all that we're doing, including my announcement today, to do that. We said that we would speed up the system. We've done that. We said that we would increase returns. We've done that. We said we would reduce the amount of people in hotels. We're doing that. There's more to do on those that cross the channel.
You mentioned hotels. The Prime Minister said yesterday that there's lots of housing and many local authorities that can be used. We're identifying where it can be used to allow for housing for British people and also for the arrivals. Do you agree with the Prime Minister that there is quite lots of housing and many local authorities that can be used? I thought there was a shortage.
There's certainly a shortage of social housing.
So why would the Prime Minister say, and I quote directly, there's lots of housing?
Nick, I've got to be honest with you. You'll understand that yesterday I was on the floor of the House in a statement on Gaza, so I didn't see the Prime Minister's clip. I don't entirely know the context. What I do know is that Angela Rayner's doing a lot on planning reform. We're doing a lot on building more social housing. There is a distinction between housing for asylum seekers, of course, and that's why we've got to reduce the numbers, and we are, and the British people who need more social housing, and we've got to reduce the amount of people in temporary housing particularly, because that's not good for families, it's not good for the taxpayer.
Indeed. You referenced what you said yesterday in the House of Commons, Foreign Secretary, and they were very strong words, but when I remind you that in July last year, you called for a ceasefire as you went your first trip as Foreign Secretary. In January of this year, you said there must be no backtracking over a ceasefire deal. In March, you said that Israel was breaking international law. In May, you said that Israel had intolerable actions. In this July, you said that we will go further in other measures. Why would they be listening now? You've said this 6 times already, Foreign Secretary. I know you feel it personally, but they're not listening, sir.
Nick, let me be absolutely crystal clear on your show this morning. I regret hugely that I've not been able to bring this horrendous war to an end. And I think that all foreign secretaries on the planet regret that they've not been able, in our combined effort, to bring this war to an end, and the suffering, the children who have not been fed. It's just horrendous. It's horrific what we're seeing before our eyes. But I do stand by our record. We suspended arms sales that could be used in Gaza. We restored funding to UNRWA. We've suspended a free trade agreement discussion with the Israeli government, three packages of sanctions for violent settlers. We've sanctioned Israeli government ministers. So we have acted, and we will act further. But it's my hope that after the Knesset rises on the 28th of July, we will see the Israeli government and Hamas move to a ceasefire in August. It has to be an enduring ceasefire, not a pause. This war has got to come to an end.
You mentioned the cancellation of licences, Foreign Secretary. Roughly 30 out of 350 were cancelled, and the UK campaign against arms trade says that we're still supplying components for the F-35 fighter bomber, which may well have fired those shells. Why haven't more been cancelled?
Well, look, let me be clear again to your listeners. The UK is not supplying Israel with arms that can be used in Gaza. We have the most robust export licensing regime in the planet, and we are not doing that.
So the assertion by that group is wrong, Secretary. Just to clarify.
It's wrong. It's wrong. It's wrong.
Okay, because I don't
because
know.
when they
supplied the F-35
let me explain to you why it is wrong, Nick. Because this will come up in your show in the weeks and the days ahead.
You know how it works.
On our export licensing regime, for example, we might be sending a particular chemical for use in a university. We might be sending some kit that journalists can use to protect themselves in a theatre of conflict. So the truth is we're exporting things that are controlled substances and controlled, but they're not for use in the prosecution.
Right, guys. I could listen to that all day. Basically, I'm trying to pay my rent. My phone is charged up, the one that I need an authentication code to pay my rent, and it's now saying it's no service. This is absolutely outrageous. I'm trying to pay my rent, guys, and I can't because I need a code to send to my bank. My bank's sent me a code to pay my rent, and I can't pay it because the phone is saying there's no service. And what makes me laugh is that I've got two other phones, and they're both no problem. They've both got service. So the one I need to pay my rent has got no service. It's ridiculous. Does my head in. See you later.